Hello everybody, it's Aaran back from Screenstars, and I'm here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom. And today I am here to review the 2019 horror comedy anthology film Urban Fears, a film that is written by Nicholas Michael Jacobs, who also makes an appearance in the film. Now this is quite a short film. It's about an hour and 10 minutes long, and there's essentially three stories here for this anthology film that essentially they all are kind of intertwined here, and it focuses on essentially the clues in the title. It's like kind of an anthology story with urban fears, and the first story focuses on a young chap who likes to rob people's houses, who kind of gets his comeuppance. The second story is about a house sitter who is confronted by a murderous doll, and the third one is kind of similar to the second one really, and they all kind of intertwine in a sense of the guy who's in the first story is connected to the lady in the second story, as the house she's sitting is his house. And the kind of urban legend that's going on here is, you know, like these YouTube or not YouTube, Facebook posts that you get, you know, that it says if you don't forward this on, it's, you know, like these chain posts, if you don't forward it on, something terrible is going to happen. Well, it kind of focuses on that people that don't forward these things, terrible thing happens to them, and that's the kind of where the urban myth comes from. Right, that's kind of briefly what this film and these stories are about. Now, I'm not going to be particularly kind to this film because it's a super low budget, which is absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with low budget films at all. But this film is more akin to a student film. The quality is so poor here of this film, it makes it very, very difficult to watch. And by that I mean, in regards to very low quality, the acting is questionable at best. There's poor sound throughout. The effects are particularly bad, and by effects I mean squirting like fruit juice up a wall for blood and things like that, and this murderous doll is essentially just someone bouncing a doll in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very low budget, very, very low quality, a step down from your normal low budget kind of horror film. I can't imagine this film cost more than a few $1,000s to make, and it's a real hard watch is this film. The dialogue is really particularly bad, and the writing is particularly bad in the sense of some of the dialogue that the characters have got, and the story, there isn't really a story here. It's like I say, it's these three very, very basic stories, and it's an hour and 10 minutes long, and you've got 10 minutes. The guy who's robbing the houses in the first story, you've literally, I'm not exaggerating here, you've got 10 minutes of him rooting through someone's drawers, and you're actually watching this from his perspective, and it's so poorly done. You can see him opening the drawers with one hand and he's clearly filming with the other, and he's literally looking through somebody's drawers to rob them of things. Not that he finds an awful lot, and that's what you're watching for 10 minutes. And he's talking as he's doing this. Now you imagine when you're looking through your drawers at home for things, you don't talk to yourself while you do it. Well, they do this in this film. They talk literally and essentially, they're talking to the camera. You get some incredibly clumsy exposition scenes that are trying to give you some story, and it's so poorly constructed, this film, in a sense of the girl who's house sitting is told not to go into the basement. However, she's been given some washing to do, and guess where the washer is? In the basement. It's that clumsy, this film, in how it tries to tell the story. The soundtrack isn't particularly good. It's very synth heavy, but not in a retro good way. It's almost like it's done on like a Casio keyboard, and it's just, for an anthology film, it's one of the clumsiest and messiest I've seen in a long, long time. And it doesn't make me feel good saying that, because I don't like ragging on films. Anybody that's got, you know, the inclination to put a film to screen, I applaud. But this is very, very rough around the edges. It needs an awful lot of work. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10, and that's essentially 1 for each of the stories, 1 point for each of the stories, so that's why it's getting a 3 out of 10. So it's a really, really rough film, this. Very, very low budget. There's a place in the market for low budget horror. That's where we got films like Halloween from, Blair Witch Project. There's, you know, some of the greatest horror films ever made have been made on low budgets, and you can be as creative as you want if you've got a great idea and good writing. And unfortunately, we don't really get that with this film. So that is my review for Urban Fears. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Geek Legion of Doom.